Okay, with the Server Slam weekend being wrapped up, we have a ton of brand new news to actually go over. New official class changes, tons of new Battle Pass confirmations, the new design and mechanical changes coming into play, and the Server Slam emphasizing one of Diablo's most important features and why it's going to be so crucial to the game. Before we dive too deep into this topic, ladies and gentlemen, a quick word from our sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Bloodline Heroes of Light. This game has one of the most unique gacha gameplay styles I've ever seen, and if you like dark fantasy games, it's a perfect fit for you. Download and try the game for free using my link or scan the QR code and receive an amazing starter pack. You can collect fantasy characters with sleek designs and unique abilities for each gender. You can even check out the new Bloodline just released, the Nine-Tailed Vulpins, who come from an eastern land of mysterious and deadly power. New characters can be attained by not only summoning, but also by breeding with companions and capturing prisoners. Customize your champions by marrying any two bloodlines to create over 1,000 fantasy hybrids and endless possibilities for your lineups and matchmaking strategies. The hybrids inherit not only the talents and their traits of the parents, but also their unique appearances passed down from each family tree and fused into one. Deploy your team of hybrids into a vast and realistic fantasy world with stunning visuals. All players can obtain uniquely designed hybrid champions, Bloodcraft Legends, by earning points in seasonal guild wars. You can raise heirs, build your own kingdom and economy, and experience beautiful scenes and interesting storylines. New bloodlines and legendary hybrids are constantly being released into the game, so the possibilities are endless for you to seek out the greatest hybrid to suit your style. Download the game now for free on both Android or iOS and get a special starter pack worth $20 using my link. The first 30 players to leave their in-game account ID and username under the video will receive a free legendary female Nine-Tailed champion. Okay, now for a server testing weekend that was supposed to be based off of network issues, stress tests, and a bunch of queue times, I mean, the Server Slam was an absolute ripoff. No, but all jokes aside, the community and myself are absolutely floored at the performance of the Server Slam this weekend. I mean, I didn't encounter one disconnect or queue time to get into the game, and almost all of my viewers throughout the weekend experienced the same exact thing. Now, I was having a bit of stuttering issues at first, I'm not gonna lie, but that quickly went away when I updated my drivers and actually got into the game smoothly. I played for over 8 hours straight at a time and didn't get disconnected or have any major issues one single time, so when it comes to the server stability, I think Blizzard is very close to being able to have it down for launch day. I personally couldn't be happier with the result that was seen over the testing weekend, and I'm sure a lot of you are too. Additionally, it is confirmed that you are allowed to remove the beta folders and files off of your PC or console, because none of this is going to be carrying over for the official launch, so make sure you delete them to save a ton of space on your PC or console now. Speaking of the Server Slam, we also got a ton of class changes that were implemented this time around, and some of them felt really great, but others, it felt really poor. And we're mainly talking about the Necromancer here. Within a few hours of the Server Slam being open, Reddit and Twitter was flooded with people complaining about how hard the class actually took the nerfs. Now, if you didn't know, in the previous beta weekends before the Server Slam, the Necromancer was dominating all across the board in pretty much every aspect of the game. This time around, while I was leveling, my minions were dying almost as fast as I can actually summon them. The developers took notice of all of this, and within the first day of the Server Slam, they actually deployed a hotfix addressing issues regarding primarily the Necromancer's minion survivability. The best part of it all is that it was actually a back-end change, so users didn't even have to download a patch or update anything. It was all fixed and no one even knew about it within a few hours, deployable to all the users playing the game. Now listen, all I know is that as a community, we have to give Blizzard and the developers of Diablo 4 major props for actually listening and responding to feedback so quickly across a wide variety of platforms. I mean, they're implementing the patch within a beta weekend, and they didn't even need to do it. They could have simply just waited until the launch day and left it on the back burner. They didn't procrastinate, they made the immediate change, and the community definitely noticed this, and everyone could not be happier about it. What's even better is that they're actually asking for more feedback from the community following the update, and said that they will continue to monitor more situations. Players reported positive experiences with the hotfix, and they also said there's a noticeable difference in gameplay and their enjoyment of the Necromancer class as a whole. Now, personally for me, nothing felt worse when you're running a summoning minion build to go inside of a boss fight and then within a first few seconds of that encounter, all your minions are dying and, you know, getting destroyed. I mean, it was very, very poor experience, and for them to fix something like this within 24 hours, I mean, you have developers here that look like they're trying to go for the Game of the Year award, in my opinion, but Now going on to the opposite side of the spectrum, the Druid. You know, obviously the Druid was struggling severely in the previous beta weekends, and with them getting major buffs, we decided to test them out first in the Server Slam. Now, I just want to say overall, the class felt pretty mediocre for the most part, with still being the fastest leveling builds, you know, your basic werewolf build as well as the werebear build, you know, just running around as a shapeshifter, dealing your damage. A major change was on the actual companion buffs because, and to be honest, we actually noticed a very significant change for the activatable portion of their abilities. They were actually dealing very significant damage and performing well. I was running a full companion build most of the time, and I was, you know, playing my Druid, and for the most part, I was plowing through content fairly easily. The only major concern that I had is that the passives for these abilities were close to pretty much useless. They dealt little to no damage and had almost no effect. There were even times when my wolves would be attacking and just literally missing my target, and it just did not feel right at all. The developers also did state that there were some Druid abilities that were bugged, and we're going to display them on screen for you right up here. You know, when it comes to the Ravens and Poison Creepers, sometimes when you would just go to town and teleport, they wouldn't attack afterwards, so it was a big bug on that. And then there was also a Rabies bug where sometimes it would consistently not trigger on enemies that are larger than you, which is a very interesting bug. Now, I'm not sure if this had a major impact on my gameplay experience personally or what, but I do know the Druid does not have its class mechanic, which obviously is the Spirit Boons, and you get that in the second act of the game, and you know, the Druid is probably going to be the most legendary, you know, gear-reliant as well as skill point-reliant class in the entire game. I do think that this class is going to come into its own heavily and be very effective near the mid to late game, but overall, I think the Druid is in a better state than it was previously. But, I mean, abilities still like Hurricane are just absolutely useless when it comes to just its raw damage. And I do think there are some things that still need some tuning, but we'll have to check in later on that. They also stated that they were going to be tuning down the Sorcerer, especially abilities like Chain Lightning, but that definitely didn't seem to slow them down at all. I mean, you know, Chain Lightning can clear rooms completely on its own, and if you pair this with the Fireball enchantment, you pretty much just have a permanent Shadow Imbuement buff on your character all the time, and it allows you just to crush entire rooms with just a few Chain Lightnings. Now, they did nerf Chain Lightning's single target damage to bosses, which was a good thing, but I don't see this class slowing down anytime soon. There were also some big loot bug issues that the developers were aware of, and they were affecting a lot of people, including myself over the weekend. I killed multiple loot goblins, and there was an instance where the loot goblin actually dropped no loot at all when it was killed, which left me kind of lost and a little bit sad, to be honest, but it seems I wasn't the only one that actually had this issue, and other players even stated that they opened up their Ashava weekly cache to only find gold in there as well as a couple of gems, which to me feels a little bit worse than that loot goblin thing. Rod Ferguson stated that they are aware of the goblin issue and it is being worked on. So that's going to be a change coming, and we're also very excited for that. Now, when it comes to the basic design and mechanical changes of the game coming toward launch, Reddit and Twitter is flooding with people praising Blizzard at the rate at which you get legendary items, with the slower itemization making items and rewards feel a lot more impactful, similar to the way Diablo 2's itemization was. I am personally so happy with the fact that the game isn't easy to just fly through and get a bunch of great gear like Diablo 3, and that encounters and boss fights are difficult and challenging, always keeping me on my toes. You know, every level that I get, every skill that I get, every, you know, legendary that I acquire makes me feel significantly stronger than I was previously. And giving it to a player scarcely and not so often, in my opinion, is a perfect way for a progression system to be implemented. Diablo is going to have things like legendary equipment, rare items, capstone talents, ultimate abilities, unique items, and the Paragon board, you know, to give you those progressive feelings of constantly increasing your character's power over and over through your journey all the way up to level 100. You know, throughout the beta testing, even when it comes to the dungeon designs and the lack of backtracking now being implemented, you know, as well as the little things like increasing your movement speed when you pick up an item and you need to carry it to the pedestal all the way across the map, you know, all these things are such great changes that were definitely needed to fine-tune the game to make it that much better come launch day. So implementing all this for the beta weekends was so crucial to having a smooth, successful launch. This is also going to make the Codex of Power system and crafting feel more impactful as well, with there being a very scarce amount of legendaries being dropped for your character. you're going to have to go out and farm those dungeons to give your character power spikes, you know, to be able to take on some of the more difficult challenges like strongholds or world bosses if you're planning on doing them while you're leveling. Also, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, when you unlock a power through the Codex of Power system, it is unlocked account-wide to make it a lot easier for alternative characters on multiple playthroughs as well. Now, listen, when it comes to the ARPG players, there is always going to be those guys out there that just absolutely abuse the most efficient way possible to get the best gear in the game. And if you didn't know, it was discovered you can farm out legendaries pretty easily in the Core Dragoon Stronghold. Pretty much all you would do is you would go inside the Stronghold, loot all of the dead corpses inside, leave the game, log back in, and rinse and repeat the process until you get however many legendaries you actually would like to acquire. I decided to even test it out on stream myself, and the drop rate on the legendaries was quite high. I got about 3 legendaries in anywhere between 5 to 10 runs, and it was definitely something that was unintended, and I'm sure it's going to be patched come launch day. Now, when it comes to Ashava, this boss was a lot more difficult than anticipated for the majority of the players out there. What you're seeing on screen right now is a level 20 rogue soloing Ashava on World Tier 2 completely alone on hardcore difficulty. Obviously, this would not have been possible if the character wasn't completely stacked to the brim with legendary items using an exploit such as the Core Dragoon corpse farm runs. Either way, this is an incredibly hard feat which takes immense concentration and skill far beyond, 99% of the players out there, so hats off to the content creator for this one. It is a major, major win and not easy at all to do. Now, if you're interested about that Battle Pass, listen up because we got loads of questions that have been answered by the developers. Starting off, we got Rod Ferguson confirming that you can use the BattleNet balance that you have inside of your account to actually buy the in-game currency, and then you could use that in-game currency to buy whatever you want in the game. So if you have some BattleNet account balance saved up that you might not have used previously, whether it, you bought it for World of Warcraft or whatever, and you just saved it, you can actually use it for Diablo's launch. It is connected. It's also great that throughout your Battle Pass journey, you earn the in-game currency, which you can then use and save up if you want to heavily reduce the cost of the next season's Battle Pass. They did make it clear, though, that it is not enough to just fully buy the next Battle Pass, but it is at least going to reduce it a good amount. This is great if you're looking to make your next Battle Pass a lot cheaper just by simply, playing through your current season's pass. They also stated multiple times, and Adam Fletcher even reinforced, that they aren't selling character power, and if anything comes up in a case where it would be possible, that would mean it isn't working as intended, and they would immediately resolve it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Which is something that is very relieving to the player base, and to even myself, when it comes to the monetization of Diablo 4. You can always get that fear in the back of your mind of, that Diablo Immortal thing, but the developers were also asked if, when you unlock cosmetics earned through the Premium Pass, will they be unlocked for all the characters on your account? Adam Fletcher replied that once you get a specific armor piece on the Battle Pass, you unlock the armor piece for all 5 classes. He stated it's why it looks like a stack of cards on the Battle Pass, because they can be shared. So for example, if you finally get to that tier piece where it shows, the gloves are able to be unlocked, you will unlock the glove cosmetic for all 5 of the character classes on your account, allowing it to be used no matter what class you actually are. Now, if you're not interested in playing seasonal characters, you need to listen up very carefully because there could be a little bit of a big problem for you. There was a question on Twitter, if someone does not want to play the seasons, can they still do the battle passes to unlock cosmetics? Or are they always tied to seasonal characters? Rod Ferguson replied that you need favor, which is generated by seasonal characters while playing. So now listen, if you're not interested in playing seasonal realms at all, there's going to be a major drawback on the fact that you will not be able to earn favor on your Battle Pass progression. And favor will lead you into earning cosmetics through that particular season. So this is a bit of a major red flag when it comes to, players that if they don't want to play seasons and they don't want to participate in it, you're not going to be able to earn those cosmetics without doing so. It's also important to note that everything you can earn on your BattleNet account directly is completely tied to cross progression through all of your platforms you're able to play on. So if you earn your beta rewards as well as your past cosmetics on your PC, you will have it tied to your BattleNet account, and then you could use that on your PS5, your Xbox, whatever. No problem. It will be linked up. And lastly, it looks like Diablo 4's reviews are going to be released completely prior to the game's early access release date on June 1st. So if you're still on the fence about buying Diablo 4 after all 3 beta weekends, you're going to be able to see countless reviews for the game, and we're going to get a lot of news on that in the upcoming weeks. But man, oh man, ladies and gentlemen, once again, the developers of Diablo 4 and Blizzard handling this game with, honestly, the utmost professionalism and high-quality response to player feedback, as well as, honestly, true care for the game's overall health, man. I mean, I am honestly just in complete shock that this company has done a 180 on everything when it comes to the development of a game, as well as keeping it maintained to how they were the last few years. Now, obviously, I know it's beta, and all of this is very early to say these types of things, but 3 beta testing weekends and servers running smooth as butter, as well as listening to player feedback and, making changes within a day of, something happening, are all incredible signs for a game that has the true potential, I feel, to be a runner-up for the game of the year if they keep doing all of these things and performing well. I don't know about you all, but I am, no joke, highly addicted and in love with this game top to bottom. Obviously, there are some things they could fix and make better and even improve upon, but I'm sure those things are going to come in over time. But, the fact that they make this game's itemization similar to Diablo 2's in the sense that it's very difficult and hard to come by really good items, and, when you actually acquire them, it feels like a rewarding experience and like you actually earn something. It makes me feel like I'm playing a classic RPG again. Combat feels difficult, bosses feel very hard, and tie that all in with an open world exploration experience makes me feel like I'm back in the early 2000s for me when I was a kid. I don't know about you guys, playing very difficult games, and I think they absolutely nailed it so far. And I cannot wait, man, to explore all the other zones and level up and discover the true potential of what this game can hold for myself, as well as, for the fans in the near future coming very soon, with the launch day only a couple weeks away. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, we are doing a giveaway for a free Diablo 4 game copy, which we're announcing in just a couple weeks. So if you're interested, be sure to check out the link in the description below to find out more details on that. If you want to join our Diablo 4 Discord server, where we have tons of people from the community talking and chatting every day about all things Diablo 4, making friends, I mean, you're more than welcome to come join that as well. I want to thank you all so much for watching this video. It is an absolute pleasure to be making content for you all. Until the very end, my name is Sky from the Comeback Kids. I will see you all in the next one. Peace!